Elena hit the cold water hard. Her scream cut through the air like a knife. The river swallowed her whole. Dark shapes moved beneath the surface. Crocodiles. Lots of them. Elena! A small voice screamed from the riverbank. No. Please, no. But we need to go back. Back to where this nightmare began. Back to understand how a rich man could do something so terrible. 3 months earlier, the Carver mansion stood like a giant on the hill. It had 50 rooms, gardens that stretched forever, and a river that wound the property like a dark ribbon. But inside those walls, there was no happiness. Only sadness lived there now. Mr. Carver sat in his office, staring at nothing. His face looked like stone. His eyes were empty. Once, he had been the richest man in the city. He owned buildings, companies, and more money than anyone could count. People used to smile when they saw him. Now they looked away. 2 years ago, everything changed. His wife died. Sweet Mrs. Carver, who always smelled like flowers and laughed like music. Gone. Then, 6 months later, his daughter died in a terrible car accident. The same accident that hurt his son-in-law so badly that the man couldn't think straight anymore. They took him to a hospital where sad people stay. He never came out. That left one person. A little boy, 7 years old. Mr. Carver's grandson. The boy had no name anymore. Well, he did, Tommy, but he never spoke it. He never spoke at all. Not since the accident. He just walked through the big house like a ghost. His eyes were always wide and scared. Especially when people raised their voices. Especially when Grandpa got angry. And Grandpa got angry a lot now. Where is that woman? Mr. Carver shouted one morning. His voice boomed through the halls. Workers jumped. They always jumped when he yelled. Elena! Elena! A young woman hurried into the room. She was small and thin, with dark brown skin and kind eyes. Her uniform was always clean and pressed. Her name tag said Elena Rodriguez. Yes, sir, she said softly. Her voice never got loud, never got mean. The boy hasn't eaten. Again, what good are you if you can't even make him eat? Elena bowed her head. I'm sorry, sir. I'll try harder. She turned to leave, but Mr. Carver wasn't done. You people are all the same, taking my money and giving nothing back. Elena's hand shook, but she said nothing. She needed this job. Her mother was sick. The hospital bills grew bigger every month like hungry monsters. Without this job, Mama would have no medicine, no doctors. Elena would do anything to keep Mama alive, even work for a man who hated her. She walked upstairs to the boys' room. It was the biggest bedroom in the house, but it felt small and dark. The curtains were always closed. Tommy sat on the floor in the corner, hugging his knees. Hey, sweetie, Elena said gently. She sat down beside him. Not too close. Never too close at first. Are you hungry? The boy didn't move. I made your favorite. Pancakes with smiley faces. The chocolate chip kind. Still nothing. Elena waited. She was good at waiting. After a while, she started humming. A soft song her mama used to sing. Slowly, slowly, the boy's head turned. Just a little. There you are, Elena whispered. I was hoping to see those pretty eyes today. Tommy's lip trembled. Then he moved, like a tiny bird. He scooted closer to Elena. She opened her arms, and he fell into them. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Elena's here. This happened every day. The boy wouldn't eat for anyone else. Wouldn't sleep for anyone else. At night, when the nightmares came, and they always came, Tommy would scream. The workers would run to his room, but he'd scream louder. Only Elena could calm him down. Only Elena could hold him until the shaking stopped. Mr. Carver watched this from the doorway sometimes. He'd stand there in his expensive suit, hands and fists jaw tight. He saw how his grandson loved this woman, this stranger, this maid, more than he loved his own grandfather. It made something dark twist in Mr. Carver's chest. Was it jealousy? Was it shame? He couldn't tell anymore. All his feelings were mixed up like a tangled knot. She's stealing him from me, he muttered to himself one night. First, God took my wife. Then my daughter. Now this woman is taking my grandson's heart. But that wasn't true. Elena wasn't stealing anything. She was just giving what the boy needed. Love, gentleness, safety, things Mr. Carver had forgotten how to give. The weeks passed. Mr. Carver got angrier. He yelled more, threw things, fired workers for tiny mistakes. The whole house walked on eggshells. Everyone was scared. Everyone except Elena. She stayed calm. She stayed kind. Even when Mr. Carver screamed in her face. Even when he called her terrible names. "Why do you stay?" another maid asked her once. "He treats you like dirt." Elena folded a small shirt, one of Tommy's shirts. "Because that little boy needs me. He's already lost so much. I won't let him lose me too." Then came the day that changed everything. Elena was cleaning Mr. Carver's office. This was always the hardest job. He kept his wife's things there. Her picture, her books, and on the desk, in a glass case, her favorite bracelet. It was delicate and old, made of thin glass beads that caught the light like tiny rainbows. "Don't touch that case," Mr. Carver always said. "Don't even breathe near it." Elena was very careful. She dusted around it with a soft cloth. But as she reached for the shelf above, her elbow bumped the case. Time slowed down. The case wobbled. Elena grabbed for it. Too late. Crash. Glass everywhere. The bracelet fell out, hitting the desk. One bead cracked. A tiny crack, so small you could barely see it. But Mr. Carver saw it. He was standing in the doorway. His face went white, then red, then purple. "What have you done?" Elena's heart stopped. "Sir, I'm so sorry. I mean, that was hers." His voice was like thunder, like an earthquake. The only thing I had left of her. "Please, Mr. Carver, I can fix." "Fix it." He strode toward her. His eyes were wild, crazy. "You can't fix anything. You destroy everything you touch." Workers heard the shouting. They came running. They stood in the hallway, too scared to enter. "You know what I think?" Mr. Carver grabbed Elena's arm. "Hard. I think you did this on purpose. I think you're a thief. You came here to take things. To ruin my life even more." "No. Sir, please. I would never." But he wasn't listening. His grief had turned into something ugly, something dangerous. He dragged Elena toward the door. "There's a place for people like you," he hissed. "A place where thieves go." Elena's feet stumbled on the stairs. Workers pressed against the walls, afraid to intervene. Where was he taking her? Then she saw it. The river. The Crocodile River. Everyone on the property knew about that river. It was forbidden, dangerous. The workers had seen the crocodiles sunbathing on the banks. Huge ones, with teeth like daggers. "Mr. Carver, please." Elena's voice cracked. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Sorry doesn't bring her back. Sorry doesn't fix what you broke. He pulled her to the water's edge. Elena could see the shapes moving below. Dark shadows. Waiting. "Sir, I have a mother. She needs me. Please don't do this." But Mr. Carver's hand raised and pushed. Elena flew through the air. Splash. The cold water wrapped around her like death's arms. Her dress soaked through, pulling her down into the darkness, down where the crocodiles lived. On the bank, a small boy appeared. Tommy. He had followed them, and for the first time in 6 months, he found his voice. "Grandpa, no. You're hurting Elena. She's the only one who loves me. She's the only one." Mr. Carver froze. The words hit him like bullets. He looked at his grandson's face, so small, so broken, so full of terror. Then he looked at the river, at what he had just done, and for the first time in 2 years, Mr. Carver truly saw himself. He saw a monster. The water was everywhere, in Elena's nose, in her mouth, in her lungs. She couldn't tell which way was up. Her heavy uniform pulled her down like hands dragging her to the bottom. She kicked, hard. Her head broke the surface. "Help," she gasped. "Help me?" But the current was strong. It spun her around. Water filled her mouth again. She coughed and choked. Then she saw them. Eyes. Yellow eyes. Just above the water. Moving toward her. Slow. Patient. Hungry. Crocodiles. 1, 2, 3. No, more. At least 5 of them. Their long bodies cut through the water like submarines. Their tails swished back and forth. Elena's heart hammered in her chest. She had never been so scared in her entire life. Not when Papa left. Not when Mama got sick. Not ever. Swim, someone shouted from the bank. Swim to U.S. But Elena's arms were so tired. Her dress was so heavy. And the crocodiles were getting closer. On the riverbank, chaos erupted. Get a rope, an old worker named Tomas yelled. Somebody get a rope. Workers scattered. Some ran toward the tool shed. Others just stood frozen, hands over their mouths, watching in horror. Mr. Carver stood like a statue. His face was white as paper. His hands hung at his sides. He looked at the river, at Elena struggling, at the crocodile circling. What have I done? He whispered. What have I done? Tommy crashed into his grandfather's legs, pounding his small fist against him. Save her. Save her. You have to save her. The boy's voice, so clear, so desperate, broke something inside Mr. Carver. He dropped to his knees in the mud. Elena, he called out. His voice cracked. Elena, I'm sorry. But sorry doesn't save someone from crocodiles. In the water, Elena was losing strength. Her arms felt like lead. Every breath was harder than the last. The current pushed her further from bank, further into deeper water. Crocodile territory. One of the big ones opened its mouth. Rows of white teeth gleamed in the sunlight. It was so close Elena could see inside its throat. She screamed. The crocodile dove under. Elena spun around, trying to see where it went, under the murky water. She felt something brush against her leg. Something rough. Something alive. No! She kicked wildly. No, please, God, no! The crocodile surfaced behind her. Its tail whipped through the water, creating a wave that pushed Elena under again. Water rushed into her nose. She came up coughing, crying, praying. Mama, she sobbed. Mama, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She thought about her mother in that hospital bed. Mama with her gentle smile and tired eyes. Who would take care of her now? Who would pay the bills? Who would hold her hand? Mama would die alone. And it would be Elena's fault for working in this terrible place for this terrible man. I've got it! Tomas ran back with a thick rope. His old hands shook as he tied one end to a tree. Elena! Elena, look here! Elena's vision was blurry. Everything looked fuzzy, but she saw Tomas. She saw him swing the rope back. Catch it, he yelled. He threw. The rope sailed through the air. It fell short. 5 feet from Elena. It might as well have been 5 miles. No! Tommy screamed. Try again. Try again. The biggest crocodile lifted its head. It looked at Elena. Then it looked at the rope. Then back at Elena. It was deciding, choosing its moment. Tomas pulled the rope back. His heart pounded. His hands were slippery with sweat. Please, God, he prayed. Please. He threw again. This time the rope flew further. It landed 3 feet from Elena. Swim, everyone shouted. Swim to it. Elena forced her arms to move. 1 stroke. 2 strokes. Her hand reached out. Her fingers touched the rope. Then something grabbed her foot. Pain exploded in her ankle. Sharp, hot, like knives cutting into her skin. A crocodile had her. Its teeth clamped down. Elena screamed louder than she'd ever screamed in her life. It's got her, someone cried. The croc has got her. The crocodile pulled. Elena went under. Water filled her mouth. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The pain was everywhere. But something inside Elena, something strong and fierce, woke up. She thought of Tommy's face, his scared eyes, his tiny hands, that little boy who needed her. No, she was not going to die. Not today. Not like this. Elena bent her body. Underwater, blind, she reached down. Her hands found the crocodile's head. She jammed her thumbs into its eyes as hard as she could. The crocodile let go. Elena shot to the surface like a rocket. Blood poured from her ankle, turning the water around her pink. The other crocodiles smelled it. They moved faster now, more excited. The rope! Tomas screamed. Grab the rope. There it was, floating right in front of her. Elena's hand shot out. Her fingers wrapped around it. She held on with everything she had left. Pull! Tomas shouted. Everyone pull! 6 workers grabbed the rope. They pulled with all their strength. Elena felt herself moving through the water, toward the bank, toward safety. But the crocodiles weren't giving up. 2 of them swam beside her, their mouths open wide. They were going to bite, going to drag her back. Then something impossible happened. Mr. Carver jumped into the water. "An OSIR," workers yelled. "Don't!" But he was already waist deep. The crocodiles turned toward him. A new target. Easier. Closer. "Elena!" Mr. Carver reached out his hand. "Take my hand." Elena saw him. The man who pushed her. The man who tried to kill her. Standing in crocodile water. Reaching for her. For a second, she hesitated. Then she remembered Tommy. She remembered that little boy who would lose everything if his grandfather died too. She reached out. Their hands touched. Mr. Carver pulled. The workers pulled. Elena kicked with her good leg. Inch by inch, they dragged her through the water. The crocodiles snapped at her feet. One got so close its teeth clicked together just behind her heel. "Faster!" Mr. Carver shouted. Pull faster. 10 feet from shore. 5 feet. 3 feet. A huge crocodile, the biggest one, made its final move. It lunged. Its massive jaws opened wide enough to swallow Elena's head. But Mr. Carver yanked her forward with strength he didn't know he had. Elena flew out of the water and crashed into the muddy bank. Mr. Carver fell backward. Workers tumbled like dominoes. The crocodile's jaws snapped shut on empty air. It hit the bank where Elena had been 1 second before. Its body was so big the ground shook. Then it slid back into the water, angry and hungry. For a moment, nobody moved. The workers stared. The crocodile circled. The only sound was heavy breathing. Then Elena coughed. Water poured from her mouth. She rolled onto her side, shaking like a leaf in a storm. "Elena!" Tommy broke free from the worker, holding him. He ran to her and threw his little body on top of hers. "You're alive! You're alive!" Elena's arms wrapped around him automatically, even though she was hurt, even though she could barely breathe, even though her ankle was bleeding and screaming with pain. "I'm here, baby," she whispered. "I'm here." Mr. Carver sat in the mud nearby. His expensive suit was ruined. His hair was wild. His face was covered in tears and dirt. He looked at his hands, the hands that had pushed her, the hands that had almost murdered her. "What have I done?" he said again. But this time it wasn't a question. It was a confession. "I almost killed her. I almost killed this innocent woman." Tomas walked over to him. The old man's face was hard. "Yes, sir. You did. We all saw it." Other workers nodded. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. But they all looked at Mr. Carver differently now. Not as their boss. As a criminal. Someone called the police. A woman said quietly, "They're coming." Mr. Carver's head snapped up. "What?" "We had to, sir. This was attempted murder." In the distance, sirens wailed. Getting closer. Getting louder. Mr. Carver looked at Elena. She was holding Tommy, stroking his hair, whispering soft words, even though she was the one who almost died. And for the first time in 2 years, Mr. Carver felt something besides anger and grief. He felt shame. Deep, burning, horrible shame. The police cars pulled up to the riverbank. Doors slammed. Officers ran toward them. "Nobody move," an officer shouted. "What happened here?" Everyone started talking at once, pointing, gesturing to the river, to Elena's bleeding ankle, to Mr. Carver's wet clothes. One officer knelt beside Elena. "Ma'am, are you hurt? Can you talk?" Elena nodded weakly. "I'm okay." "She's not okay." Tommy cried. Grandpa pushed her. He tried to hurt her. The officer's eyes went cold. He stood up and walked to Mr. Carver. Sir, I need you to stand up. Put your hands where I can see them. Mr. Carver stood slowly. He didn't run, didn't argue. He just stood there like a man waiting for his punishment. Mr. Carver, the officer said loudly, you're under arrest for attempted murder. The world seemed to stop spinning. The handcuffs clicked around Mr. Carver's wrists. The sound was sharp and final, like a door slamming shut forever. You have the right to remain silent, the officer began. But before he could finish, a small voice spoke up. Wait! Everyone turned. Elena was trying to stand. Her legs shook. Her ankle bled to the bandage a worker had wrapped around it. But she stood anyway. Wait! She said again, louder this time. Please wait. The officer holding Mr. Carver looked confused. Ma'am, you need to sit down. You're injured. The ambulance is coming. I know. Elena took a step forward, then another. Each step looked painful. But I need to say something first. Tommy clung to her hand, his little face wet with tears. This man pushed you into a river full of crocodiles, the officer said slowly, like he was talking to someone who didn't understand. We have witnesses. We have your injuries. This is attempted murder. He's going to jail. I know what he did. Elena's voice was quiet but strong. I was there. I felt the water. I saw the crocodiles. I thought I was going to die. The workers nodded. Some wiped their eyes. They had all seen the horror. Then you understand why we have to take him, the officer said gently. I understand, Elena replied, but I'm asking you not to. Silence. Complete, total silence. Even the birds stopped singing. Even the wind stopped blowing. Everyone stared at Elena like she had lost her mind. What? The officer finally said. Don't take him. Please. Elena looked down at Tommy. The little boy was shaking. His eyes were huge and terrified. If you take him, this child loses everything. His mother is dead. His father is in a hospital for people with broken minds. Mr. Carver is all he has left. Ma'am, with respect, this man tried to kill you. I know. A tear rolled down Elena's cheek. But taking him won't help Tommy. It will only break him more. Mr. Carver made a sound. It was something between a gasp and a sob. He stared at Elena like he was seeing an angel, or a ghost, or something he didn't deserve to see. You can't be serious, another officer said. He could try to hurt you again. He could hurt someone else. Elena shook her head. He won't. Look at him. Everyone looked. Mr. Carver was crying. Not quiet, dignified tears. Big, ugly, loud sobs that shook his whole body. His expensive suit was covered in mud. His face was twisted with pain. He looked like a broken man. A man who had finally seen what he had become. I'm sorry, Mr. Carver choked out. Elena, I'm so sorry. You should let them take me. I deserve it. I deserve prison. I deserve everything bad that could happen. Maybe you do, Elena said softly. But Tommy doesn't deserve to lose you. The little boy pulled on Elena's dress. Don't let them take Grandpa, he whispered. Please, Elena, he's all I have. You and Grandpa are all I have. The officer in charge rubbed his face. He looked tired. This is highly irregular. You're the victim, but if you don't want to press charges... I don't, Elena said firmly. Then I need you to sign something. A statement, saying this was your choice. I'll sign whatever you need. The officer sighed. He unlocked the handcuffs. They fell away from Mr. Carver's wrists, leaving red marks. Sir, the officer said sternly, looking at Mr. Carver, you're the luckiest man alive. If I hear about anything happening to this woman again, I will come back and drag you to jail myself. Do you understand? Mr. Carver nodded. He couldn't speak. His throat was too full of tears. The officers left slowly, shaking their heads. The workers whispered among themselves. Some looked happy, some looked worried, but they all looked at Elena with new respect. Let's spread hope together. When the police cars disappeared down the long driveway, Elena's legs finally gave out. She collapsed onto grass. "Elena!" Tommy screamed, but she wasn't unconscious, just exhausted. So exhausted. Mr. Carver dropped to his knees beside her. "Why?" he asked. His voice was broken, raw. "Why would you save me? After what I did? After I tried to... He couldn't say it. Couldn't say the word kill. Elena looked at him. Her eyes were kind but tired. "I didn't do it for you," she said honestly. "I did it for him." She nodded at Tommy. "That little boy has already lost too much. I won't let him lose any more. But I don't deserve..." "No," Elena interrupted. "You don't deserve it. But life isn't about what we deserve. It's about what we do with the chances we get." Mr. Carver buried his face in his hands. His shoulders shook with sobs. "I've been so angry," he said. "So angry at God, at the world, at everyone. When my wife died, something inside me died too. Then when my daughter, when the accident..." He couldn't finish. Elena understood. Grief can make us do terrible things. It can turn us into people we don't recognize. "I became a monster." "Yes," Elena said. She didn't lie to make him feel better. "You did." Tommy sat between them. He held both their hands. His small fingers wrapped around Elena's hand on one side and his grandfather's hand on the other. "But monsters can change," Elena continued. "If they want to, if they try." Mr. Carver looked at his grandson, really looked at him. He saw the fear in those little eyes, the sadness, the desperate hope. "I want to change," Mr. Carver whispered. "I want to be the grandfather he deserves. The grandfather my daughter would have wanted me to be." "Then start now," Elena said. Mr. Carver wiped his face. He looked at Elena's bandaged ankle. Blood was seeping through the white cloth. "Your ankle? The hospital bills. Your mother's treatment. Let me pay for everything." "Let me?" "No," Elena said. "What?" "But I owe you." "You owe me nothing," Elena said. "I don't want your money as payment. I don't want charity." Mr. Carver looked confused. "Then what do you want?" Elena was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I want you to be kind to everyone who works here. I want you to stop yelling. Stop hurting people with your words and your anger. I want you to be a grandfather Tommy can feel safe with. That's what I want." "But your mother..." "My mother needs medicine, yes. But if you want to help, help because you want to be a better person, not because you're paying off guilt." Mr. Carver thought about this. Then he nodded. "You're right. You're absolutely right." He paused. "But please, please let me help with the medical bills. Not as payment, not as charity. As someone who wants to do right. As someone who wants to be better." Elena studied his face. She was looking for lies, for tricks, but all she saw was genuine regret, genuine desire to change. "Okay," she finally said, "but if you ever raise your hand at anyone again, if you ever hurt anyone who works for you, I'm gone, and I'll make sure Tommy knows why." "I understand." Mr. Carver put his hand over his heart. I swear on my daughter's memory, I will be better." Tommy subtly threw his arms around his grandfather's neck. "I love you, Grandpa," he said. "Please don't be angry anymore. I miss when you used to smile." Mr. Carver hugged his grandson tight, tighter than he had in 2 years. "I love you too, Tommy. And I promise I'll try to smile again." Elena watched them. And despite everything, despite nearly dying, despite the pain in her ankle, despite all the fear and horror, she smiled. Because Tommy was smiling too. For the first time in 6 months, the little boy smiled. The ambulance finally arrived. They loaded Elena onto a stretcher. Tommy insisted on riding with her, holding her hand the whole way. Mr. Carver followed in his car. At the hospital, doctors treated Elena's ankle. The crocodile bite was bad, but it would heal. Everything would heal with time. When Elena woke up from surgery, she saw Mr. Carver sitting in a chair by her bed. He looked older somehow, but also lighter, like a heavy weight had lifted from his shoulders. "Your mother is getting the best treatment now," he said quietly. The best doctors. Everything she needs. Elena nodded. Thank you. No. Mr. Carver shook his head. Thank you. You gave me something more valuable than anything money can buy. You gave me a second chance. A chance to be human again. He stood up and walked to the door. Before leaving, he turned back. Elena? Yes, sir. Please don't call me, sir, anymore. Call me Thomas. That's my name. That's who I used to be before I forgot. Elena smiled. Okay, Thomas. He smiled back. It was small and sad, but it was real. As he left, Elena heard him in the hallway talking to Tommy. His voice was gentle, patient, kind, the voice of a grandfather, not a monster. Weeks passed. The house changed. Mr. Carver, Thomas, stopped yelling. He started having meals with Tommy, started reading him bedtime stories, started healing. Elena's ankle healed. Her mother got better. And slowly, very slowly, that big mansion on the hill stopped feeling like a house of sadness. It started feeling like a home. One evening, Elena found Thomas sitting in his office. He was holding his wife's bracelet. The one Elena had accidentally broken. He had gotten it repaired. The crack was still there, tiny and barely visible, but the bracelet was whole again. Some things break, Thomas said, seeing Elena in the doorway, but they could be repaired. They're never exactly the same. But maybe that's okay. Maybe the cracks remind us to be more careful, to be more grateful. Elena nodded. Maybe they do. Thomas looked at her. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for seeing that even broken people can be fixed. We're all a little broken, Elena said. That's what makes us human. And somewhere in the house, they heard it, the most beautiful sound in the world. Tommy was laughing. Really, truly laughing. If you enjoyed this story of forgiveness, redemption, and second chances, please share it and subscribe for more inspiring tales that touch the heart. Because sometimes the greatest strength isn't in seeking revenge. It's in choosing mercy. And sometimes the greatest change comes from the smallest act of kindness. ****. Share this story. Subscribe for more.